What's going on, everybody? My name is Mark. You're watching The Big Critique. Sam Rishkoff, who nobody probably knows who the fuck he is. So let's talk about it. He's a really interesting guy. Sam, what do you do that you think people might find even remotely interesting?
Got it. So you guys may not know me, but I've probably been to a lot of your events, especially in the Brooklyn area, Staten Island, North Jersey, stuff like that. So pretty cool about us is we own Bamituprentals, which is a photo booth company. So we love to do weddings, we do all the bar mitzvahs, sweet 16s, we do a lot of corporate events as well. So our goal is basically just to come out there and make you guys smile.
That's cool. Was it a little boring, his description? No, I'm just fucking with you. So let me ask you a question, man. So how long have you been doing this photo booth thing?
Been doing it for about 5 years now, maybe 6 years.
5 years?
Wow.
Damn, that's a healthy relationship right there.
Yeah.
So is that your only venture, or do you have a job as well?
I do have a full-time job outside of that. I am a licensed loan officer, so we help people purchase their homes. That's kind of my more serious job, and then on the weekends, I like to go out there, have a little fun with everybody, and again, make people smile.
YouTube buzzword, loan officer. He's going to teach you how to get rich off real estate. Just kidding. No, he's not. But, so what I'm hearing is...
We're going to sell you your home. We're going to help you get married. We're going to be at that wedding. Then we're going to help you get into that home. That's it. I got you from the time you meet me at 25. I'm there with you till you're like 65.
I mean, my pants are a little wet now. Thank you so much. So, Sam, not to dig too much into your personals, you're with somebody...
Correct. So I just got married about 2 months ago.
We should do a little toast for that.
Fine.
Mm.
So that was pretty cool. That was definitely an experience.
Just to give you guys an idea of what we're drinking. Sorry, reached over you.
Sure.
Little, is this old school?
Listen, leftover from the wedding. So.
Little Chivas Regal. Regal? I don't know how to talk. I don't know how to speak English.
I like the way you pronounce it. Shivas.
Shivas?
Which I think is correct. It may not be.
I don't fucking know.
Yeah.
But anyway, so what I'm hearing from you, what I find to be interesting about you, even if nobody else knows who you are, which I kind of hope they don't, because I want new people to view.
I kind of hope you do, but okay, yeah.
All right, so different perspectives.
Sure.
So I'm hearing that you have pretty much, probably at minimum, 3 different things going on. You've got your full-time job.
Correct.
You've got a photo booth business.
Correct.
And you have a relationship.
Correct.
So I speak from very personal experience when I say, fuck, that's a lot, man.
A lot of stuff to do. Correct.
That's a lot, bro. Like, do you ever feel like you've bitten off more than you could chew?
I do feel like that, but I'll tell you honestly, I'm also the type of person that I feel like there's so much opportunity to get involved in so much cool stuff that you can always find 5 or 10 minutes to try something, to talk to somebody new, just to go out there and make something happen.
I love that you said that, because when people, especially in like the business world, don't respond to my text message or something, I usually get butthurt after. I get butthurt about it after about 24 hours. I would give you 24 hours. Because in my head, you're telling me you never take a shit during the day?
Right.
You don't take a shit or a piss once. I mean, maybe you don't. That's maybe a medical issue you need to check in with your doctor about. I don't know. But to me, if you have 2 minutes to go to the toilet, you have a minute to respond to me just saying, hey, I'm busy, I'll get back with you. And I'm the king of, I'll get back at you means a few days later. That's fine. But anyway, it's fascinating to me that you're able to build like a legit business.
Correct.
Because I have this channel, I'm not making money. I try to treat it like a business. I don't post nearly as much as I'd like to. I was just on vacation, not that it's an excuse, but I'm giving myself the slack.
On vacation with a phone where you did no work, yeah.
I go fuck myself, it's true. No, I posted one review of the Joker movie, which was fantastic, in my opinion. I don't know.
I felt differently. I thought it was a little sad.
You thought it was sad?
Yeah, I did. I felt like after the movie, I don't know, maybe I just was looking forward all day on a Friday evening to kind of go out with my wife and just have a great date and have something like fun to do. And I left that movie and like it really got to me. I was like, yo, I want to hug this guy.
I think that the writer and actor and directors all did exactly what they wanted to do then.
I think that they did everything very well. I think I expected the Joker from the previous version with Jared Leto, where he was going to be like fun and crazy and yada yada all over the place. And I came to like the Joker that was like, oh my God, like how does your day every day after get worse and worse and worse? And I was just like, man, like let me give you a hug. Like I get it, right? Like you're a little different than other people, but that's cool, It's cool to be different.
I think that first of all, the perspective that I had on it was pretty much like that as well. I felt that like I was glad they put a movie like that out. Because in my head it's just like this shows people that the person that they understood to be the Joker, this arch nemesis of Batman, this terrible person, in a very real world, and it's really scary to realize that this is true.
Right.
Could happen to anybody, man.
So I kind of feel, and I may be like totally wrong on this, but I kind of feel like that's not the real Joker.
I love that perspective because I didn't even think about it like that.
I'll tell you this, so spoiler alert, but I think that the age and the timeline doesn't make sense until that very last minute where somebody who was dressed as the Joker shot Bruce Wayne's father in the alley, right?
Oh, okay, yeah.
And that could potentially be the actual Joker that we know. Meanwhile, this Joker that's been portrayed throughout the whole movie may have just started that movement.
That would be very interesting. You know, I remember exactly what you're talking about, and I for some reason it didn't click in my head to find that sort of weird or questionable. But that's an awesome perspective.
Well, because the age didn't make sense.
Sure, it didn't.
Right.
So, taking into consideration, we happen to be on the topic of Joker, and in my opinion, that movie was more so about empathy and understanding where somebody's coming from.
Right.
My man, just like the rest of us, to some degree, you're a fucking salesman.
Right.
So, how have you used empathy to your benefit, or do you even think about it every day like that? Do you think of perspective when you're in the sales process, or not really? You kind of just go with it.
No. I definitely think it's important to understand your client. It's very important to understand. I think instead of rather like pushing your product on somebody, take the time to understand why your client can benefit from what you're able to do and understand how they can. So instead of kind of butting heads with somebody, going face to face with them, I think it's important to kind of get into the psyche of them. Why can they benefit from them? Why during the middle of their day, if you're going to give them a quick call, what is it that you have to say that's going to intrigue them to give you 2 minutes of their time? Because we're all busy, right? If somebody calls me in the middle of the day, like, you better have something really quick to say that's going to benefit me. Otherwise, I just don't have the time to talk to you, I'm sure.
So if I call you and say, I just wanted to say I love you and you're sexy, you would just hang up on me?
Probably, yeah.
I would be like, I love you, you're sexy, and all right, fine, I respect you for that.
Okay.
I respect that.
But if you were like, hey, Sam, listen, I'm going to save you, $200 on your car insurance by switching like I could be like, okay, listen, maybe I'll give you 5 minutes and try to kind of figure out what's going down.
We can talk. So, okay, let's talk about something within the sales process.
I'm a little different too because I'm like willing to learn about anything. So if like you're pitching me something and I'm like, oh man, that's a cool idea. I'm like, really, you could do that? And again, a part of me always feels like, hey, maybe it's not actually like true.
Yeah.
But I'll give you 5 minutes to show me.
And you were born in New York?
I was born in Belarus.
When did you come to New York?
When I was 2.
All right, you were coherent when you were in New York.
Okay, sure. Well, yeah, I was born.
Well, you
Okay.
fucking...
I was almost born in New York, yeah.
You're a whole different breed, my man. You're a whole new breed. But anyway, so the reason I wanted to get into the sales thing. So, what is your primary job? Is what? Loans? What do you do?
My primary job is to be a loan officer.
Loan officer. So before I even try to have Sam bring you any value when it comes to things you may or may not find useful about learning about loans, let's talk about this real quick. And I know everybody deals with this to some degree on a regular basis, whether it's work related or personal related. How difficult do you find it to control your emotions during the course of the day dealing with people in the sales process?
You know what? I think my job is here to help the client, so my emotions don't matter. It's all about the client. I do feel for you when you're upset. I feel for you when you're happy. I'm excited with you. So my emotions are based on your emotions as my client.
That's cool. It's not exactly what I meant though. To dig deeper into that question, I should have said, how often do you disagree with your clients to a point where it could get a little frustrating to you?
Okay, constantly, sure.
Right. Now, this is where we get real, right? So how do you deal with that? Because I remember I used to work in retail, and one of the big reasons I left retail is because you don't really get to choose your clients from retail. I mean, you don't really get to choose your clients ever. It's like, a potential sale walks through the door. You're gonna jump on it. That's your bread and butter. That's how you eat. But how do you deal with it when somebody frustrates the fuck out of you and you're like, you're a fucking moron, but you can't say that because it's
So you're 100% right. You can't say it, so you eat it. Clients trust you to, I guess, ultimately help them achieve some sort of goal. So it's very important that you eat your ego. They're always right. They're always going to be right. They're going to make mistakes. You're going to fix them. That's just how it is. I never let my client feel like they're wrong. If there's ever a situation where they did something that, wasn't correct, we didn't do something correctly. So I'm going to eat that brunt with you. It's really the only way. I mean, they're the client ultimately. Our job is to help them achieve their goal.
I just had this lovely, visualization in my head of you when you first started this job and realized you had to put your ego down.
Yeah.
Of you going to a graveyard and going sandwiching ego and just saying, all right, that's it. I'll see you later.
Yeah,
I'll see you. That's it. It's been a pleasure on this one.
I learned that real fast in this business. I learned that probably when I was 18 or 19 years old.
So, okay, to dig into being a loan officer, what do you know that you think other people may not know?
The only thing I could say is talk to a professional who you trust, who's going to handhold you through a process that you may not be familiar with. I think with today's world, it's very easy where people think that you could go on Google and you could figure out how to do your own loan. I promise you cannot. Find somebody that you trust and just don't believe the hype. Everyone comes to us and they're like, hey, Sam, what's your interest rate? Okay, what's your interest rate? What's your interest rate? What's your interest rate? The interest rate could be whatever you want it to be. What a lot of people don't realize with that is that interest rate is very important, but you could buy your interest rate from the bank. What people need to start asking is, hey, Sam, what are the fees associated with me purchasing my dream home? What is the interest rate that we can get without having to pay for it? Little things like that, again, Google's not going to tell you.
Okay, so you definitely still need the in-person experience, which is very good to know.
You need someone you can trust. You need somebody good looking. Right?
Well, nobody wants to stare at somebody with a fucking mole right here. You'll never get anything done.
Correct. Hence, you need somebody good looking.
You do need somebody good looking. It's very helpful.
Right.
You ever see Lucifer? You ever see that show? Yeah. You gotta show all watch Lucifer. Great show. He just has this way about him. He's delightful. But okay, so I guess if I was to go the cheesy route, which I'm gonna go the cheesy route obviously, and turn this into a little bit of a how-to video, what's your best approach, step by step? How would you recommend somebody to go get a loan for a mortgage?
Listen, find somebody you trust, find somebody that your friends have dealt with where they've had a great experience, read your reviews on there, and again, make sure that the person walks you through every aspect of it. Make sure that they're going to handhold you on there. Trust that person, let them guide you on how to get the loan done. That's the most important thing. Don't just walk into a bank, talk to a stranger. Go to somebody local, talk to somebody that your friends or family have dealt with. I mean, 5-minute conversation with somebody, you'll figure out if this is a person that you can trust or not.
Would you be willing, and I can cut this out obviously, would you be willing to talk about the steps that you would take, knowing what you know? Say for example, you went out of the business, you're not in this business anymore. You moved to a different state, but you needed to get a loan on a mortgage. Knowing what you know, what steps would you take? All right, maybe that's not even the right question. What steps should somebody expect during the process of going to take out a loan? And how would somebody know if something's a little fishy?
Mm-hmm. Sure. So anytime that somebody tells you something, they don't give it to you in writing. Definitely that's your cue to kind of question it. Anything that I'm going to tell a client, any type of rate that I'm going to be able to offer them, you're going to get all that in writing. You're going to get a closing cost worksheet where you're going to get an idea of what closing costs to expect. I break them down line by line for you. I'm super transparent on that. I never want any surprises at the end of a loan where something unexpected hits us from left field. This is the biggest decision that your clients are going to, or our clients are going to make over the course of their life. They need to know the facts. They need to know what it's actually going to cost them. They need to know what to expect on there. Anytime somebody comes to me and says, hey, somebody offered me this, great, show it to me in writing. If they didn't give it to you in writing, I don't believe it. You want to go through it, but get it in writing.
So if I come to your office to take out a loan, so what's the first thing I'm going to do? I'm going to fill out an application?
First thing you're going to do is just have a quick conversation with me, right? Let's make sure that we're on the same page. Let's see what your actual goal is. I'll take some information from you. And again, we're going to run your credit. We're going to take a look at your income. We're going to take a look at your assets. And we just need to make sure that this is something that's very viable for you.
And where do we go from there?
From there, I'm going to do my magic. We're going to find a good product for you. The good thing about me being a mortgage broker is that I'm not just limited to working with one bank or one financial institution. We have dozens and dozens of different lenders that we could work with. We have access to tons of different programs where we could find not necessarily the best thing that one bank offers, but the best thing on the market for you.
And how long should somebody expect this process to take?
Well, the process from start to finish usually takes anywhere from 45 to 60 days in New York.
Okay.
For me to tell you, hey, yes, you do qualify, usually takes about a day or so.
So what's the rest of it?
Well, the rest of it is actually getting the bank or convincing the bank to give you money.
fucking banks. You believe these people holding back money from the rest
You'd
of
be
us?
surprised if you're trying to get $500,000 from the bank, plus or minus, they're gonna ask a couple.
I wouldn't be surprised. They're definitely gonna ask. People.
I think I'm sorry. I think the most important thing is people need to understand the bank is not your friend. The bank is a business. So ultimately, the bank has one job, and that's to make money. When you work with a broker, somebody like myself, somebody like my partners in my office, our job is essentially to convince the bank to get you the funds that you need to purchase your home. We are your friends. We do work for you. We do not work for the bank. So we're just going to guide you through that process. We're going to do everything we can. And to be fair, like I hate to say it, but we don't get paid unless you get your loan. So I promise you we're going to do everything we can to make sure that happens for you.
Oh no, there's no reason to hate to say that. Listen, I find it fascinating that people do this dance around making money. If you guys are buying something, somebody's making money. That's just a fucking fact.
Correct.
It is what it is. And I think it's interesting when people don't talk about how much, like they're not okay with talking about salary and stuff like that. I'm like, it's just like, I find it even more fascinating when like the higher you get in pay scale, the less people are just like willing to talk about their shit, you know, because they're afraid of the haters or whatever, right? But okay, so that's all very valuable information. So how many hours a week do you think you put into this?
Oh, sometimes 12, 15 hours a day easy.
Where's your bed? I don't see your bed.
I did fall asleep in the office earlier this week.
I don't see your bed
on
here.
Monday night. Yeah.
Man, that's crazy. But I mean, like, that's what it is. So you're the manager of this office?
I'm not the manager.
Okay.
I am just a loan officer here. But again, listen, the position doesn't deem how much work or effort you put into it. I appreciate the opportunity when clients trust me with again the biggest purchase of their life. So I'm going to do everything I can. I'm going to spend as much time as I need to make sure that we can achieve that for you. So we can achieve that together.
Okay. Well, this handsome devil. I hope he sold you. I'll give I'll add the plugs in.
Well, say it again in case they missed it.
This handsome devil. I hope he sold you, because he definitely sold me. And I will add all the plugs into getting in contact with him if you need a loan or a blowjob. Just kidding. Just kidding. No. His wife will find me and shoot me, I'm sure.
No to the loan.
Nix what I just said then, right? All right. So I guess the boring stuff is over. Let's talk about this photo business that you do. You tape people having sex at weddings. That's so crazy.
Pretty much, yeah.
I know people get fucked up at weddings though.
Yeah. So actually, it's funny you mentioned that. So what we've noticed over time is that the weddings tend to kind of progress as how users are acting at the photo booth. So in the beginning, everybody's having like their little champagne and they're like, oh, this is fun, this is cool. And boom, that same person 2-3 hours later, 5, 6, 7 drinks into it, is over there like getting really rowdy at the photo booth. And we love it. I mean, we're there to make sure that you're having a great time. So we love to see you all over the place, wobbling, using props and all that stuff. Great. Pictures come out phenomenal.
Yeah, I'm sure they do.
A little blurry sometimes, but phenomenal.
I'm sure they do. So, I know you said you started this business, what, like
about 5 years ago.
5 years ago? What made you start this business anyway?
So interesting. I was at one of my buddies' weddings. Yeah, cheers. So I was at one of my friends' weddings, and they had, I guess, 5 years ago, photo booths were a little bit different than how we see them today. But they had kind of like a TV monitor on a pole. They had a printer that took forever to print, and they had like 5 props.
Yeah,
and I was amazed at how many people were waiting in line to kind of use this thing. And I looked at it, I tried it, and I was like, damn, this is like really fun, because again, the wedding is really based on the bride and the groom. Everything is revolving around them.
Right.
You put something in the corner to entertain the guests, it like changes the whole like dynamic of like the wedding, and the guests are over there having a blast too. And I was like, this is such a cool idea, but I can fucking make this better. Right? So I went home, I talked to my buddy who was living with me at the time, and we were kind of like, yo, I just experienced this. How do we make this better? How do we make it like our own? And kind of just took off from there. We realized into the process that this needs to be an experience. We're not just going to put a photo booth in a corner somewhere and hope that people enjoy it. We're going to make sure that people enjoy it. We're going to make sure that they're wearing silly hats. We're going to make sure that they're using fun props. We're going to make sure that they're smiling, having a blast. We're going to make them get their prints within 15 seconds, walk away from there smiling, laughing, and it's just a great keepsake for them to take away from an amazing day.
Man, I could just, in my head, as you were saying, I mean, like, that's great, and that's definitely the way to go. I'm just thinking of all the debauchery that's happening in those booths. Like, what's the worst thing? Not to say this has happened in your booths before,
Right.
but do you think that dirty has happened in a booth before?
Well, so here's the thing. So our photo booths are a little different. We do what's called open air. So they're not enclosed. You don't actually go into a photo booth to do it. We just have a standard backdrop.
Boring. Just
no, the dirty tries to happen in there. Sometimes you gotta kind of shoot people. Yeah. But we have the censored prop signs, which are cool. So
Okay.
you just cover it up real fast, picture comes out phenomenal.
So, if I'm allowed to ask this, how much did it cost you to start this business up?
Probably initially we invested maybe close to 10,000.
Was it really that much?
Yeah, so I'll tell you a funny story. So the way that we invested into this business was we did not want to put a single penny of our own money into it. So what we did was we went into Chase Bank and we got a business credit card that had 0 APR for 12 or 15 months.
That's fantastic.
I think it was 15 months.
Yeah.
And we made all our purchases on there after tons and tons of research. And we had obviously 15 months to pay that off. Now, about 12 or 13 months into us using that credit card and just jacking it up with debt, Chase sent us one of those access checks, which is basically like, hey, for 2%, do you want to borrow $15,000? And we were like, yeah, fuck yeah. So we took their own money, paid it back to them to pay off the credit card, and now for 2%, which is pennies, right? Essentially, we had another 12 months to pay off our debt. So we invested no money into the business, used the bank's money, paid the bank back with their own money, and then we obviously over 24 months, thank God, had the opportunity to pay that card off.
What was the second amount?
Second amount that we paid off the initial card, probably at that time like close to $7 or $8 grand.
No. So you got one credit card for 10K.
10K. Then they sent us an access check for that same credit card. Access check is when they give you the opportunity to write a check out to yourself
Right.
to borrow off of that credit card. So that same credit card then gave us money to pay back that credit card.
So
Right.
like the check itself was for how much?
About $8 grand.
Oh, so it took like 18,000 to start up.
Well, no.
Because it's
right. There's obviously expenses to go, throughout the process.
Gotcha. But still, okay. So it did take a few bucks to start up. I was
did.
very curious about that. So in what period of time did you turn even? Was it like 2 years?
So obviously we had our up and downs, probably in about 2.5, maybe 3 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So is all of your equipment currently paid off?
Everything's paid off, yeah.
And so
We're up to 5 booths, so pretty cool.
all right. Let's do
we'll get to
this.
that.
Let's do this.
And they're all different.
I heard that somebody was going to let me redo his website.
I said maybe.
You know what I have to do? I have to make him a design on the house in order for him to buy it. That's what I do. That's how I get my clients. You gotta be assertive. So I take my business usually. But that's really cool. So, because so before I start any podcast, I do some research into the people that I'm going to talk to. And I did some research into the things we were talking about here, and I looked on YouTube to see who was talking about like if photo booths were lucrative or not. Because for anybody who's watching this podcast, most content creators on YouTube end up using it as a search engine. So you will see YouTube flooded with how-to videos because that's what people are searching for. And there's ways to find out what people are searching for. So a little bit of a heads up to any one of you guys who have any interest, because a few people have asked me about starting podcasts and what you need to know or whatever. There's an extension. It's free. It's for Google. It's called TubeBuddy. And what this does is it will tell you the amount of like searches per month that go into whatever you type into a Google URL or anything in the browser. So this is how a lot of YouTube content creators know what to post, because they know what people are searching for. Like I post Facebook videos from time to time. Facebook videos meaning like news about Facebook or whatever, and it's sort of like a market test. Like I wonder if this will get hits or whatever. Yes, I do it. I post just for the views sometimes, just like everybody else that is trying to make a living on YouTube. Complete transparency, no shit's given. That's why we're here right now. Have a few drinks with some friends. It's actually the first time me and Sam are meeting, but he seems like a really cool guy.
Oh, I'm out.
He's out, so you gotta refill yourself.
I'm refilling.
But so yeah, so I did some research into photo booths, and I'll think a little bit more, just a little bit. That's fine. And yeah, it definitely seems like there's a ton of people posting about why they wouldn't open up a photo booth. Cheers.
Right.
And I'm just like, I wonder what Sam will have to say about this. So you think, you think it's worth it, but because you put the hours and the time in.
I think that a lot of people take for granted how much work actually goes into it. I'll be honest, when we initially started it, we also thought it'd be a very simple business. And obviously, as you do more events and as you progress, you realize like, hey, there's ways to do a shitty job and there's ways to do a fucking good job.
Right.
And I think that my team does a phenomenal job. We're super proud of our 100% 5-star reviews on pretty much every social media outlet that that our clients leave reviews on. And it's really nice to be a part of somebody's special day, and then for them to actually take a minute or two to go out and tell everybody what an amazing time or what an amazing job our team did. Very rewarding, and that's how I know that we're doing something right. I've seen a lot of people over the last couple of months, especially, where people contact me and they're like, hey, do you want to buy my photo booth? I tried it, I used it 3 times, business is not for me. It's not an easy business. Nothing you're going to half-ass is going to be busy. There's no easy way to make money. Go out there, do your research, buy good equipment, and just go out there and like be creative. Make sure people have fun. Make sure people enjoy the shit that you're putting out.
But I love that we're talking about this. So I, much like probably you and a lot of other people that are watching, there's tons of videos out there via Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube about new businesses to get into and how to make money and blah, blah, blah. It all takes hours of grind.
Correct.
And it all takes
loss of sleep,
months and months and loss of loss. Like, for example, I was thinking about doing real estate on the side because what I would like to do, and I think I was talking to you about this, is I would like to get into more of a real estate investment business. I was looking into Airbnbs, which are, I believe, not legal in New York anymore.
Correct.
I was looking into house flipping, which
needs a lot of cash.
Yeah. It's almost impossible to do that in New York without $500,000 liquid in cash. There's just so much shit I looked into. I looked into flipping sneakers on StockX. For those of you who don't know what StockX is, go to StockX.com. It's like a stock market for more towards luxury items like sneakers, like watches, things like that. I don't know if you're familiar.
I've never been familiar with it.
Yeah, so there's
I learned something cool.
Yeah, there's a tremendous market for sneaker trading, depending on how in demand and how hyped the sneaker is. For example, Travis Scott, for those of you who know anything about the sneaker market or who don't know, he's a rapper or whatever. And I know he's a rapper, and he has a sneaker out, and these sneakers tend to just resell for like way over $1,000. And so I've been trying to get into the sneaker market for like a few months now, and I finally won my first raffle. And I did. So what a raffle is, for those of you who don't know, it's to find like sneakers that seem to have a marketplace on this website where people are buying and selling them, and seem to be coming out like in limited supply. But the catch is,
who's doing the raffle? The raffle comes from the company directly?
It comes from, I did mine with a sneaker store, which is called something Butter or whatever. I don't remember. I'd have to look it up, to be honest with you. But for these limited edition sneakers, you might get lucky finding them at a big box retailer like Nike or Adidas or something like that. But the chances are you'll have to enter a raffle with them too. And how it works is, you're essentially saying, I want one pair of these sneakers that probably retail anywhere from like 150 up to like 200 or 300, right? If you win the raffle, you pay the money, right? You get a pair of sneakers, right? The next step is to go and resell. The catch is,
so you're winning the raffle for the opportunity to buy these
correct.
sneakers.
It's just like, very similar to the high-end whiskey industry. I know somebody that's a whiskey connoisseur, and he was explaining to me that because there's a lot of whiskey that's similarly very valuable.
Like Chivas 12.
Oh, yeah, dude, we're sitting on millions.
Which is why I brought it out for you today.
Sitting on millions. But there's a lot of whiskey that's very high in value as well, and you have to, just because it's supplied in such limits, you have to enter into this raffle just for that chance to buy it. And then once you buy it, you still don't know if it's going to be a profit or a loss on your end. So I'm first getting into this now. But as Sam explained before, I'm expecting, like, if I'm going to see how this goes, and if I'm lucky to make 20 or 30 bucks on this, I will. I doubt even that much. Luckily, I bought a size 13, and that's what I wear, so I can just wear them. I haven't spent this much money on
to make it even harder for you to sell later, right?
Right. Yeah, I haven't spent this much money on sneakers in a long time, but I figured, fuck it, I want to give it a shot, because it's a hot topic right now. Just so you guys know, if it's a hot topic, you probably shouldn't do it. It's probably too late. So back to, sorry for all that useless bullshit. I don't know.
I learned something. That was cool.
Yeah. So back to
I'm
photo
glad
booth.
we did it on the podcast instead of the phone, right?
Yeah.
So you don't bother me during the day.
Now I'm gonna bother you with running during the day.
Okay.
So back to photo booths. Here's the parts that people might actually be interested in. No, it's not really money related. How much ridiculous wedding shit have you seen? Have you ever seen somebody actually, like, I don't know, interrupt a wedding to say, don't marry that person?
So we're usually, that part is done outside of the ballroom or the main room where we are set up. So no, that'd be pretty cool, but no.
That'd be pretty cool. I'd love to see somebody's life get ruined. That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
So like,
Well, actually, so I'll tell you, we had a funny scenario one time where, I mean, obviously we're in Brooklyn. Sometimes getting from Brooklyn to Long Island, which is a 7-mile drive, could take you, 4.5 hours. So one time we got to a wedding and nobody showed up. Like, everybody was stuck in traffic. We usually obviously come ahead of time, so we were there a little bit late, but, I was prepared for it. But it was funny because the wedding was supposed to start at like 7 o'clock. And like nobody was there. Like literally, the bride and groom were there from taking pictures at like 4 or 5 o'clock when they got there. Nobody showed up.
Literally everybody.
Like nobody. They had to drive by JFK Airport where the traffic was just unbelievable. There was a car accident every like mile and a half. It took forever. The wedding literally started instead of 7 o'clock at like 8:30 or 8:45.
How long ago was this wedding?
Probably like 3-4 years ago.
Do you know if the bride and groom are still together? I'm trying to figure out if it was a bad omen.
I don't. No.
I'm trying to figure out if it was
the rest of the wedding was great. They had a great photo booth. The food I heard was good. They had a great photo booth. So,
I mean,
everybody had a great time.
If you were operating the photo booth, I'm pretty sure you're over embellishing yourself and it was garbage.
Yeah, that's not true at all. Right.
No. I'm sure you're very good. Well, listen, you seem to be, first of all, I happen to know one of your employees and he happens to not hate working for you. So that's definitely a plus.
That's
no,
a plus.
He raves about you. He totally loves the taste of your what? Who said that? But, all right, fine. What's the funniest or most interesting thing you've experienced at a wedding? You've been to so many weddings. You mean to tell me you've never seen anything that's like, that I'm never going to forget?
I'll tell you this, yeah. Listen, I've seen funny stories. I've heard about funny stories. Honestly, thank God, most weddings turn out very nice. I've seen brides and grooms in the Jewish traditional weddings kind of fall off the chair when they're tossed up during the the Havnagila?
Yeah, sure, that's what we call it.
So that's pretty funny. Thank God, I'm actually happy that I haven't seen anything too crazy because it is people's special day. So I'm happy that they get the opportunity to have it run, like they wanted it and that things don't go wrong.
So
I know you're an asshole, clearly, but I'm actually happy to see that people weddings go as planned.
Listen.
Yeah.
I literally, truly wish everybody the best. I am somebody, probably not too far from what I know of yourself, that I think everything in life is a gamble. I'm engaged. I love my fiance very much. Thankfully, I'm getting to marry my best friend, and please now all vomit and blah blah blah. But by the same token, I'm 33. Everything is a gamble to some extent. You never know what's going to happen in the future, and that's just the hard truth. Some people like to listen to that, and some people just like to be like, that's cool, huh?
That's also what makes life exciting.
It does make life exciting. So, I'm an asshole, I'm a realist, and I also just try to make people laugh a little bit. But, okay, fine. Nothing crazy has ever happened at your wedding. So let me ask you a question. I had a theory for weddings. What do you think of the idea of... I was going to make this into an app, and if one of you take this idea, please go for it, enjoy yourself. I can't see anybody actually agreeing to this bride and groom, but what would you think of an idea where the bride and groom made a deal with all their guests that if they should get a divorce within some frame of time, 3 to 5 years, they have to pay back all their guests their money?
I mean, yeah, listen, I'm not one to say no to my envelope coming back. No, listen, the expenses are there for them. So, as a friend to somebody, if you're going to somebody's wedding, you're obviously close to them. Listen, you're happy to help them out. You definitely don't want to take advantage of them in an already difficult time.
No.
Again, back to you being an asshole.
I'm being a dick. but it's funny though. Come on, that's kind of funny now.
Right. Although I agree, there should be a rule. If you get divorced like within X amount of time afterwards, like I need my money back.
You know what I mean? Like, listen. Okay, a wedding is to most people it's a night out.
Expensive night out, yeah.
It depends on who you are. It depends what you consider expensive. It's all really relative. It's a night out. It's probably way more expensive of a night out than
going to the movies and watching the Joker, yeah.
Unless you're in the UA in Brooklyn and it costs you almost $100 between snacks and tickets for 2 people anyway, then it's.
That's exactly how I watch the Joker. Yeah, $60 in snacks. Yeah.
It's not that far off, but it's true. It's true. I was being kind of a dick about it, but listen, I'm really happy that all these people that that it all went through flawlessly, and I think that they can probably attribute it to your service being their good luck charm.
I'll take it. You know what? Never thought of it like that. Yes. Yes, I like it. That's gonna be like our new right on our website now.
We're your good luck charm.
We're your good luck charm. We'll see you then.
To a life of arguing about the air conditioner and laundry together.
Right.
Well, I think I've talked, and Sam has probably talked your ears off by now, should you still be watching. I was gonna say this in the beginning of the video, like just because I don't know if anybody's gonna make it this far. If you guys would feel so kind to just hit that subscribe button, just press it, just once, just a tip, just for a second, just to see how it feels, just like And if you don't like listening to my voice or you don't like my face, subscribe anyway, and then you can hate watch me. I don't get I'll take the views, I don't care, So if you're not to continue this too much longer, but something that I just learned today, if you're at all interested in podcasting, here are the rules of making money from this shit. You need 1,000 subscriptions. And I think I have 71 right now, so bring them on. You also only really start to make money once you hit 1,000 views. Depending on the model that you're using, it's $1 for every 1,000 views you have. So people want to try to make money from this. If somebody has the millions of views and they made a few $1,000s on that video, the best way to make money from this is probably sponsors. So that's it. That's my shit. Sorry I've, went off and off. But, again, if you feel so kind, hit that subscribe button just for a second. It's a click of the mouse. And that's it. Hit the alert button. And all the plugs to Sam for whatever he wants to be plugged into.
Bamitup Photo Booths.
Bamitup Photo Booths. That's it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.
Bye.
I'm not that much of an asshole.